Hello and welcome to another episode of One Fall WrestleCast Live. Tom and I are here with you this week. Sorry for the interruptions to your regularly scheduled program last week. I had some prior commitments, and then we had a alternate day planned, and I didn't have any electricity. So we are here with you on our normal day and our normal time to discuss the last 2 weeks of pro wrestling. Obviously, the Royal Rumble was a thing this past weekend. One of me and Tom's absolute favorite professional wrestlers, Tommaso Ciampa, is all elite. Tom and I are going to get into that. AJ Styles has officially been retired from the WWE. Tom and I have that. Plus, who is that masked man? We got a lot to talk about. Looking forward to it. We'll catch you on the other side.
You broke it already? Try again. Are you frozen? Am I frozen? Is the world frozen? Did the power go out again? I'm texting you now. Is it me? This is weird if it's me. Might be me. No, it's not me. I don't think it's me. Okay. It's not me. Although I think I'm still paused. Oh, his computer shut off. Wonderful. There we go. Tommy Arabia with you here. Walt's computer just went pew. Such as this is how you know it's going to be a good show, is because Walt's computer died right at the beginning, and now he's got to turn it back on. So kudos for that. I assume Walt's going to be back here, but I'm going to tell you guys a story while Walt's rebooting. So last week, Thursday, we were supposed to go. So me and Walt are texting back and forth all day, all evening, Thursday. Blah, blah. We're talking about this. Oh, we're going to talk about that. Did you watch this? Holy crap, Ciampa was on Dynamite. Did you watch? Yeah, I watched Dynamite. I watched the whole thing. Blah, blah, blah. Back and forth, back and forth. So I get busy. I'm cleaning up, did some dishes and whatever, and I end up coming in like at 8:30 or whatever. We were going to go at 9, and said, texting him, and he goes, "Let me text you a picture of my living room." And I just get this black screen of darkness. And I'm like, "Oh no." And I'm like, "Who killed the hamster?" Um, for those of you who don't, the town that Walt lives in is not super close to me, but we're not super far away. About an hour's drive. It seems like every time, because not only Walt, but I have another dear friend of both of ours from childhood, which neither of us grew up in that town, lived there, and every time I go to this town, the power goes out. So Walt did not have power at 8:30 p.m. on Thursday, and so there was we obviously can't if the hamster wheel ain't spinning, we ain't being on the internet talking about things. So, but every time I'm in this town in which he resides, whether it's his house or our buddy's house, the power goes out like every single time, and it happens apparently all the time. Walt luckily has a generator because he does live in this town and understands that the power grid is the size of a thimble, and is ready to power a quarter of the size of the population that this town is. So at any given time, somebody puts on too much juice and blows everything up. So there will be no until they build more power plants down there. There will be no new technology, stations going in for AI. So that's our funny story as to why we weren't here on Thursday, and clearly the power issues reside. Um, I'm telling them right now. I'm telling the story. Thursday. in your absence. So yeah, apparently the power grid down there is really only meant for a town a third, a quarter of the size of the town in which it exists. It's a town. It's a power grid the size of the town that we grew up in, but it is a town much bigger, more akin to the size of Pittsburgh than it would be the size of the power grid that it currently exists. Also, he doesn't live down the street from a Starbucks and an Olive Garden, so if and when my power goes out, which has happened for more than like a few seconds twice in the last decade, the worst time was literally like this past year where it was out for like 36 hours straight. That's the worst it's ever been, and I've lived in this house for a decade now, more than a decade. It was a decade last year, and my power never goes out because I'm on the same line as one of the major traffic lights and the Olive Garden and the Starbucks. So those basically power the entire neighborhood, and I'm on that street. So it's really nice to like never lose power ever. Like sometimes like everybody else loses power, but my street still has power. That's how lucky I am. However, Walt is not as lucky. He lives in the town with the shakiest power grid in the history of towns and or power grids. It is run by some college students pushing a wheel and 2 or 3 hamsters. And I guess 1 or 2 of those hamsters needed to be replaced with fresh hamsters. And got a pop out of Ashley for that. My fiance. Oh yeah, got engaged. I think we already talked about that though. Oh, he's back. Oh, thank God. I was running out of stories to tell. That's not true. That's not true. I never ran out of stories to tell.
Yeah, that's definitely not true.
That's never done. That's not the case. This would have been a whole non-wrestling episode of just me telling stories. I told him about how your power grid is run by a few hamsters and some college kids.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. All right.
Don't break it.
Did the intro video at least play?
It started to play and then it stopped and you froze and looked kind of like a Greek god there for a minute.
I doubt that.
Went away and I became the focus of the show. It was my show.
Fucking wild, bro.
Do we need to play the intro or do we just go?
No.
Okay.
I just,
The intro was my story this week.
Yeah, for sure. So, now that the audience knows where we've been, we can move on. Let's go ahead and kick it off. Tommaso Ciampa has officially jumped ship to AEW. Showed up on Wednesday on Dynamite, and now he's the new TNT World Champion or TNT Champion.
So I gotta say I love Tommaso Ciampa. I was excited when I heard that he showed up because I wasn't watching live, but I did go back and watch the whole of Dynamite. Dynamite is still a weird show in the sense where it's like there's like probably 3 segments that are like in segments could be matches or promos or whatever that are like really, really, really good. The problem is those 3 segments make up about maybe 20-25 minutes. And the show is 2 hours long. And the rest of that show, it's not as bad as it used to be. Where it was like, sometimes I was like, oh my God, this is unwatchable nonsense. It's just kind of a slog. It's really hard to just pick up and go with. You don't really know what's going on. I don't know how Excalibur has not gotten an ounce better in 5-6 years now. Dude gets worse. He is so bad. Shivani is just happy to be there still. JR, I never thought I'd say JR's presence is missed. They trample all over Taz. It's kind of a shit show on commentary. It's better watched on mute, but I do turn on commentary a little bit, or at least I did. Kudos to Excalibur for just being quiet the whole time Ciampa's music started playing, because that's his like big thing is he likes to just talk over any big moment. And he did not do this when Ciampa showed up, although he did try to put Ciampa over as like one of the most violent and fierce people to ever step foot in Ring of Honor, which I thought was weird because like Ciampa hasn't been in Ring of Honor for 12 years now. Like it's been a long time. Well before AEW was a thing, well before like, so to just put over like what happened 10 or 12 years ago, it was to me kind of a ridiculous way to describe it. Like, I feel like you put him over in the same way that, WWE puts over, the guy's been a champion everywhere he's been, he's been all around the world kind of a thing. You don't even have to say WWE. I know they don't want to say that on AEW. You don't say NXT on AEW, but like, so there was that on Wednesday. And then Saturday, so he immediately shows up on Wednesday and like accepts Mark Briscoe's TNT Open Challenge, which is great, right? Like that's you. But now you put everybody in a predicament because a guy who would have been, if he wasn't the NXT champion when AEW started, he was shortly after. It was probably like between him and Adam Cole, they were feuding for it, and I can't remember who was the champion at the time, but one of the best eras of NXT ever, and that's what Dynamite was up against when it first debuted. So you put yourself in an interesting predicament because his first match on the card is now for your TNT title, which is really your number 2 title, right? Your number 2 guy carries the TNT title generally.
Well, I mean, I don't know that you can say that now because they've got the Continental or International or whatever it is, and like I feel like they've kind of propped that up to be a little bit of a bigger deal than their TV title.
Sure, but it also like it's got a legacy. Is all I'm going to say, right? It's one of their legacy titles. It was the title that Cody Rhodes held, most famously for quite some time back and forth. As much as I think that Mark Briscoe is okay, I don't think anybody sees Mark Briscoe as a star without his brother. He's the Jimmy Uso of the group. R.I.P. to Jay Briscoe, but he's the Jimmy Uso of the group. He's the lesser tag team partner. So it was interesting to see it happen because now you put him in the predicament of, are you going to have somebody win your one of your very coveted mid-card titles within in his first match? And sure enough, that's what they did on Collision. And you know me, man, I'm a sucker for a title change. So I applaud Tony Khan for having the gonads to be like, no. This guy is one of the guys. He's a big deal, and I'm going to treat him like a big deal, and I'm going to put a belt on him because that's, I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I feel like maybe you kind of like throw in a DQ here for some reason or another. I know Adam Cole's hurt, so it's hard, but like that would have been like a beautiful, like Adam Cole coming out and just.
Yeah, but I think Adam Cole's done from.
I think you're right. I don't think we've gotten an official announcement from that, but like something that there has to be somebody floating around the AEW locker room who would have some beef with WWE NXT Tommaso Ciampa. And I don't know who that person is, but they must exist. Right? Like I can't am I wrong? Nobody comes to mind, but somebody
Roderick Strong.
Andrade is there. Roderick Strong too. So is Kyle O'Reilly. Okay, all 3 of those guys. Any of them would have been yes. Any of those would have been worthwhile. That didn't happen, and he won the title. Which, in the moment, I'm like, this is cool. Like, good for them. And they did it on Collision, which is like certainly their B show, but Collision this week, worth a watch, particularly for that match. But Ciampa just seems so legit. Right, and that's
he is.
Right, it's so he doesn't. it's such a breath of fresh air for AEW to see a guy that works like Tommaso Ciampa, because he's not about big spots. He's not about high spots. He's about hitting spots that look like they hurt, but really don't. He's a guy that looks, he's a WWE trained superstar kind of guy. That's the moves he does, but he does them to the best of that ability, and he really outclasses a lot of guys in that locker room. So, I guess, hopefully we see a meteoric rise out of him. He's about our age. I think he's a little younger than us. He might be 30. He's at least 40. But he might be like a late 39. But, I think that him being there is good for him. He wasn't going anywhere further. He had a great beginning of 2025 in WWE. But I think that's the long and short of it, for his, he went as far as he could in WWE, and I think he knew that. So I'm interested to see. He adds an interesting wrinkle, but also an interesting concern, because is he just a shiny toy for now, and does he fall back into the sea of nameless faces that we only see once every other month?
Well, and two, I'm glad you brought that up, because I thought that maybe them putting the TNT title on him right off the gate, right off the rip, was something they hadn't done with previous debut, in-ring debuts, especially that had jumped ship from WWE. So to me, it kind of feels like maybe he's not going to get lost in the shuffle. It feels like they made him a priority relatively quickly.
They did to Mercedes Moné, because they put
okay.
But again, her debut match, she did win. What did they have a women's TNT title? She won that.
The TBS title.
Yeah, the TBS title. She won that in her debut match. So they did it to her, which is right. Like that adds that wrinkle to like, is this gonna be bullshit kind of a thing, right? By the way, 21st Amendment still exists apparently. At least
no shit.
Yeah, I've Hell or High Watermelon. I found a variety pack. I don't know if they're just selling off whatever they had left, but does this have a born on date somewhere? Yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, I got some Hell or High Watermelon, which is a summer beer, but there's 13 inches of snow outside. But anyway,
yes, I was up that way yesterday. You guys got fucking beat on.
Oh, buddy, it was. I shoveled while it was happening, and like my back hurt still. Yeah, like I was sitting there. I am the schmuck that does the scoreboard. My daughter's basketball games. Which, by the way, if you want to get yelled at by other adults, do the scoreboard at a 10-year-old girl's basketball game. Like these guys. These people take this shit way too seriously. It's fucking insane. It's like, I'm just there because like nobody else is willing to do it and I'm nice. And I'm like, sure, I'll figure it out. But this scoreboard is 30 years old. It hasn't worked right in a decade. And they're like, how come you're not keeping track of the fouls? I'm like, the foul button doesn't work, bro. Like this, I got fat dudes just like flipping out on me. And I'm like, trying not to, because like you know me, man. I could cuss a motherfucker out, right? But like, my daughter is there, and like all of her little friends, and it's a bad look for me to cuss a fat guy out because the scoreboard is 30 years old and broken, and he's flipping out on me about 10-year-old girls basketball. So yeah, so I try not to do that, but I've almost lost it a couple times. If I'm not here one day, it's because I pushed a dude into some chairs.
Fucking adults, bro. Fucking adults. So, I think we pretty much touched on everything Tommaso Ciampa. I think that I'll be really interested to see what it is they do with him moving forward. I mean, I imagine he probably signed a 3 or 5 year deal with AEW.
It's got to be at least 3, right? I mean, like the guy's on his, like I said, maybe he's 40. When his deal's up, he's 43. I know he's had some knee problems in the past, but
And neck, don't forget that.
and neck, but I mean, he's been since coming to the main roster, relatively healthy, and for the longest time, I mean, he was a week in, week out kind of stalwart, uh, you know, big bump taker, big match haver kind of guy. So, hopefully still got plenty of juice in the tank. Hopefully his health keeps up. His knees seem to be good. He looked like $1,000,000 on Saturday. Um, I mean, he looks like a star. So I hope he's got a great shirt too. The Ciampa face shirt, like that shit is gold. Like I'm probably gonna buy one of those shirts because it's awesome. And
Yeah, they definitely look really, really cool.
I hope they continue to treat him like a big deal. I know that he is a big deal because I've seen him, at his best. I'm a big fan. So he's the guy that'll get me to turn the TV on. I hope he doesn't. I feel like I have to say this is what I said about Adam Cole, and we know what happened there, and I'm still like heartbroken about it because I thought he was like, oh, this will be perfect for him. Concussion, ankle, concussion, fucking can't wrestle anymore. I hope that that was a one-off, never going to be again kind of thing. But that's the level of hype I have for Ciampa, and I hope that, and I feel like Ciampa's got a higher ceiling too because he looks the part.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's still in phenomenal shape at 40 years old, and we'll see what happens. We when it comes to Tommaso Ciampa and AEW. Well, Tom, that was a good show. Thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week.
We're done already, huh? We're just gonna fuck this. Tommy Arabia.
So, yeah. So, first of all, obviously the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia this past Saturday was a thing. I'm somehow managed to work a 12-hour shift and avoid every single spoiler that I would have run into on any other PLE day. So I got to watch unspoiled.
Well, that's good for you, and I'm happy
on
for
Saturday
you,
night, and it was phenomenal.
But I'm going to tell you what was spoiled for us. It has been, for the better part of the last 5-6 years, our tradition to watch the Royal Rumble together. And either whether it was at my house or at a bar or both or whatever, it has been our tradition. However, the Royal Rumble starting at 2 p.m. on a Saturday fucked us so bad that it ruined what's 6-7 year tradition at this point, which I've tried tried to contain my rage, but I cannot contain it any longer. The Royal Rumble is sacred, okay? And the fact that this shit, look, I'm fine. Look, you want to put fucking WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia next year? Great, okay? You know what? It's a 2-day event, and if it starts at 2 p.m, whatever. Like, it's 2 days, it's fluff, it's pomp and circumstance, it's whatever. This is the fucking Rumble, and it's exciting. Every single person's exciting, and they not only did they fuck up our tradition, they fucked up the atmosphere for the Rumble because those motherfuckers. First of all, that stadium was empty until the men's Rumble started.
No, it wasn't. There's LED lights that were at every seat, buddy. I've seen like floor videos from the floor from people's phones, and one of the guys was like, look, and he points his phone up at the Tron above the ring. He's like, this place fucking looks empty on the screen. And then he pans down and he pans around, and there's people stacked on top of one another.
All right, well, whatever. The crowd was dead for half the entrance, especially the women's entrance. They had no idea who these women were. Crowd was dead, which is like a good crowd for the Rumble is sort of like paramount to what the fuck is going on here. And
Agreed.
that crowd, they didn't know anybody that wasn't Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso. Even for Jey Uso, when Jey was about to like run it back before he got his face knocked in, the crowd was like, "What's happening?" Um, so like they fucked up our tradition and they kind of fucked up the vibe of the Rumble. That being said, overall, I thought the Rumble itself wasn't as bad as the internet seems to believe that it is. So
No, I
let's
didn't
go.
think so either. First and foremost, before we get into the card, uh, they started tearing down the stadium today.
I thought it was temporary, but God, it went up in what 20 days.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know that I'd
we
have been there.
we didn't think they were going to get it done.
I, I mean, I wasn't there. I'm not sure it was done.
Well,
But
to me, it seems like they did what they did with WrestleMania 9, where they were just like, fuck it, we've got this spot of land. Let's just build an arena and fucking make it what it needs to be.
yeah, I mean, it was like a Woodstock kind of thing. They built a stage. Uh, you guys stand here, kind of a thing, you know. I don't know what the level, but again, I've only ever been to American arenas. They could have put it on in the ruins of the Roman Colosseum, and I probably wouldn't have known the difference on television other than going, "Hey, those are broken." I don't know. Kind of wild though.
Yeah, so they started tearing it down today, so that's interesting. Overall, I thought the venue looked pretty cool. I know that, like, I like that it gave me PNC Park vibes, if I'm being honest.
It didn't. It wasn't. It came across on TV as pretty cool. I'm not saying that it didn't. It came across However, when they shot it, obviously Lee Fitting, a genius for this kind of thing. I'm sure he had the layout and the like. All right, this is how this is going to be. Is we're going to have some guys here. We're going to do it over here. We're going to take this shot there. Um, that it was shot beautifully. It really was.
So obviously, we started the night with the Women's Royal Rumble. Uh, you and I seem to disagree on the.
So I have some disappointments, some big disappointments for the Women's Rumble. Number one, I don't know, no Bianca return. I was sort of dead set on her return and her having a big showing in the Rumble, if not winning the whole damn thing by herself. No Bianca. I don't know how hurt she still is. I'd hoped they were just saving her, but Jesus Christ.
I mean, she broke her finger. How fucking hurt could she be? She's been out since WrestleMania.
Right. Yes. So like that was sort of my like going in like, okay, where's Bianca? Okay, where's Bianca? Second, Jordan Grace didn't get as much time, and she wasn't as impressive as I had initially anticipated her being. As sort of
Agreed.
power, as a juggernaut, as a powerhouse. That being said, I thought Alba Fire had a fantastic night. I thought that Lash Legend had an amazing night as well.
Alba Fire wasn't even in the Rumble.
Yeah.
She just was ringside with Chelsea Green.
Yeah, right. But like, I thought Alba Fire was her crawling around.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah. I mean, definitely
great. But like, I thought Alba Fire had a good night. I thought that Lash Legend looked like $10 million. I had sort of Nia Jax. I think she tied for like 5 eliminations. She did.
Yes.
But I kind of expected a little more. I felt like 5.
Lash Legend had some big eliminations
did.
too. I mean,
I guess I probably should have been looking at the two of them as sort of a tandem. I guess that's how they've been coming across on television.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Nia Jax was eliminated before fucking Lash Legend never even made it into the ring. So,
right, which is why I didn't think of them as a tandem, because it was sort of a like, Nia was there and then Nia was out and then Lash showed up and then she sort of took over that like monster spot, which was fine, but I kind of wanted to see them be dominant together because that's what we've seen on television. I understand
some really good storytelling vessels in that match. Obviously, Charlotte and Alexa start the match at 1 and 2.
I really like that. I really, really like that.
The whole thing with Asuka and Kairi Sane, I thought that was really fun.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
Rhea Ripley didn't have a great night. It looked like she maybe got hurt on her toss out. I'm not sure on this, but uh, Rhea seemed underwhelming, if I'm being honest. Um, what else? What else? The winner was correct. I think had we had a show, I'd have been like, Liv Morgan's winning this Rumble, and she did.
so you're not upset with the Liv Morgan?
No, no. I think Liv.
Wow.
I think Liv was the right choice to win.
The internet is very upset.
What's the internet saying? Because I've not seen a lot of discourse about her.
Just that it was a safe, boring choice. That there was so many new and up and coming superstars that deserved that spot. That it's just going to be New Year's, same bullshit. Liv Morgan, challenging for the title. It was just a lot of that. That was the discourse around the Royal Rumble, mostly, both men's and women's. And I mean, we can get into that here in a little bit also when we talk about the men's match. But I did predict that they were not going to take a safe choice with the Royal Rumble. I didn't feel like the safe choice with either Royal Rumble was the right choice.
So
I felt like you took a risk with the Rumble and then you went safe with Elimination Chamber.
So I feel like because it was in Saudi Arabia, this is a crowd you almost have to go safe with, and I'll have more thoughts on that when we talk about the men's Rumble. But this is a crowd where you almost have to go safe with it. They know the name Liv Morgan. She was the crown jewel champion in Saudi Arabia. That was purely why I was like, Liv's going to win this. She's just coming back from injury, and she was the first crown jewel women's champion, which was the only crown jewel women's champion in Saudi Arabia. So it becomes one of those things where it's just like, okay, not only is it sort of like storyline wise the obvious correct choice, but it also is like, all right, in Saudi, they know who she is. She was the crown jewel champion. They see themselves as the crown. That's their whole thing. It was easily a wrapped package for her, at least the women's side of things is concerned. And in Saudi Arabia, the women have a harder time because getting over and just being over and what have you, because of the culture. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to get into like my whole disdain for all of this. But it's just, it seemed the obvious choice to me. Also, Liv is electric. Like every time she's in the ring, it's like, oh right, she's amazing, and she hasn't lost a step as far as her in-ring ability is concerned. She looked great in the Rumble. Her performances were great. Everything leading up to the Rumble, I think she only had 2 or 3 matches, but those matches were great. Her promos are great. Like she's a top tier. Like she's a number 1 in the women's division right now, and she should be treated as such. So her winning the Royal Rumble proves that she's a number 1. She's the Cody Rhodes spot from a couple years ago, but just on the women's side of things.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's a fair assessment. But again, I think that specifically in the men's match, that we didn't have to go safe, and I'll be really interested to see what your opinion is on that here in a minute. But a couple of interesting things happened in the Royal Rumble match itself. Storyline vessels. Liv Morgan obviously eliminating Raquel Rodriguez. What do you think that looks like in the Judgment Day Clubhouse this evening?
So I've not watched Raw. Usually I watch the first hour of Raw before we hang out, but I've become weirdly addicted to Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is Ubisoft's like Zelda spinoff from like whatever 6 years ago at this point. And I'm just like, oh, I get it now. It's really good. So I was playing that and hanging out with Ashley before we came on here. So I have not watched Raw yet. I will probably watch tomorrow. But yeah, I think that there's some fallout that we're gonna see. I was really interested. We saw Brie Bella. apparently we're gonna get more Brie. I
I
imagine.
mean, from the sounds of it, she was in Philadelphia today, so from the sounds of it, she is back on the roster.
I feel like we're gonna see Brie tonight. Obviously, we're gonna hear from Liv. We're gonna hear from Roman. Roman won the men's match, by the way. Spoiler alert: if you've not seen Raw or the Rumble, sorry, Roman won. We're gonna see Roman tonight. Um, yeah, we're gonna see the Americanos. We'll talk about that. El Grande Americano. We'll talk about that later. I don't know. It's there's a lot of things coming out of this that I think will be good and should be good. But I mean, who does Liv go after? Either too, because you're right. Judgment Day Clubhouse. What's that look like? We're gonna see that tonight, or they saw we've seen it already. I don't know what it looks like.
I think she goes after Stephanie Vicaire.
I agree. I think she beats Stephanie.
I also think she beats Stephanie.
But also I think that maybe I don't know. Does Raquel beat Stephanie, and then does Liv go after Raquel? Do we have a Triple H like a Batista situation where he goes after Triple H? Do we have that? Do they do that angle? I mean, is Stephanie's reign over? Can we put the belt on Raquel so that she and Liv can have that WrestleMania moment?
I don't think you can do that at this point. I think that we're solely on this road to WrestleMania now, and I don't know that you can make a title change like that with your Royal Rumble winner declaring to go after Stephanie Vicaire. And that's if she decides to do that. And
maybe
if
she
she does, we'll know
yet,
tonight.
and maybe she just declares, "I'm going after the Raw." What's the women's one's not heavyweight.
It's just the women's world championship.
The women's world title. Maybe she just says, "I'm going after the women's world title," and then magically, maybe it's just the belt, right? She's going after that belt, and I don't know. It could get hairy, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and I feel like that's how it ggets hairy.
Anything could happen, but I just don't see that happening.
Maybe not, but there's so many things that could end up as a triple threat. That would also and maybe you just fracture the Judgment Day. Maybe you don't, because Dom's hurt, and I feel like you have to have Dom involved in a fracture of the Judgment Day. There's all this stuff with Finn going on. He wasn't in the Rumble. He just lost his chance at the title with Punk. There's all this going on. JD's hurt too. Injuries have really hamstrung what the Judgment Day can do. Maybe it's just time to break them up and let everybody fly, regardless of who's healthy and who's not. I don't know. And I think that it's really the injuries that have me sort of but can you really do this without So I don't know. That's where I am. The injuries have me hung up on it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to happen in the next week or so.
This might have been a very Judgment Day heavy episode of Raw. Hopefully it is. Hopefully they really flesh a lot of that out real fast over the next couple of weeks, because there's probably 6 hours of storyline and maybe only 7 or 10 hours of television.
Yeah. What you think about Brie Bella returning?
I kind of hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't like Brie Bella.
I don't either, but
I don't like Nikki. I feel like Brie is
I don't have nearly as much disdain for Brie as I do Nikki.
Nikki's the better worker, though.
Yeah, but Nikki's also the bigger mouth, one with that did all of this, and then immediately was like, "Ooh, uppy,
Uppies. Yeah,
gimme."
you're right. But like I feel like Brie is sort of a like she's a rock because like they're gonna put them together, obviously. The Bella twins. Na, 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 na. Like they're gonna put them together and Nikki's gonna run her mouth and Brie's gonna be like, yeah, and I'm gonna kick your ass. And it's like does anybody care? It's been at this point, what, 4 or 5 years? Clearly nobody cares about Nikki. We have to care less about Brie, right? Like Brie, the lesser twin, like she's less offensive too, but also like she's like the worst wrestler. She's married to Daniel Bryan. Like what?
Interesting.
They're gonna put the tag team titles on them. That's
for
gonna
sure.
happen. That's
For sure.
gonna happen.
For sure.
Right.
Because it'll just like cement their legacy as like the first women's tag team of all time. Like,
yeah, they're gonna beat Rhea and Io.
it'll probably happen at WrestleMania.
Yes, they're gonna beat Rhea and Io at WrestleMania. That's gonna feel stupid.
It's gonna be like an audible groan, just like ugh.
That's how I feel about it. Is that like we are now setting up Rhea and Io to lose to the Bella twins at WrestleMania. That's exactly where I am right now, and I want no part of any of that. Like all of that is like ugh.
Makes you feel dirty.
I feel dirty saying it out loud. It's ugh. It's gross, and so that's how I feel about Brie Bella coming back. She's back, and I'm like, oh god, they're gonna job not only Rhea Ripley but Io Sky at WrestleMania to the Bella twins, who are Hall of Famers for that pop. And even if they beat them, and then the Bellas retire, what does that's like? You know, we talked a week or two ago about like the John Cena retirement tour being a hot pause button. Like we're gonna put Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, the two hottest, biggest stars you have on the women's side of things, on pause for 2 months to give the Bellas their flowers at WrestleMania. If in a losing match, if they lose, and if they win, you're jobbing your two biggest stars. And now you have to build them back up like until SummerSlam, and maybe at SummerSlam they're on separate products and they have to both win titles to like re-cement their legacies. Like they have to like one of them has to beat Charlotte Flair, the other one has to beat Liv Morgan. Why is Charlotte Flair a champion? I don't know, but it's always Charlotte.
It's always Charlotte. Always Charlotte. She didn't look real good in this match either. I think that she lost a step.
I don't know.
Her exchange with Tiffy looked really good.
Tiffy looked great. Charlotte.
Their exchange was the best that Charlotte looked that entire match.
You're right. I don't know why Charlotte looked rattled. She shouldn't look like she's just come off 2 of her or like a better run in the last 3 or 4 months than she's had in a long time. But she looked rattled. I don't know why. Hopefully there's no weird backstage stuff, but like her ex-husband is very much gone. She was in a different part of the country. I don't know. But you're right. She looked rattled. She looked like she lost a step. I mean, she's clearly in great shape. It's not a fitness issue. I don't know. It's weird. You know, she's also our age, right? Like Charlotte's also almost 40 or is 40. Is this, you know, is she hitting? Is this the end? I don't know. I mean, she doesn't seem hurt or anything. But you're right. I don't know what it is, but like what made her like sort of magic just doesn't seem like it's there. if I'm being honest, and like this is coming from a guy who's a Charlotte fan. I really like Charlotte. I want Charlotte. I want Charlotte to be mean to everybody, be heel, but be like I
She
want
turns
Charlotte.
40 in March.
Okay, so she's almost 40. Like I want Charlotte to be mean to everybody, and I want her to come out and be like, "I'm the queen, bow to the queen." But I mean, I feel like we might be hitting the end of the run.
Yeah, because I mean that hasn't necessarily gotten her anywhere as of late either. So
I, it's it's really what works though. Like, and I feel like the problem is that like they do this, and then she gets hurt, and then she comes back, and there's this redemption storyline. She gets a lot of redemption story. I feel like she wants to be a baby face, but like she should really like almost lean into being a heel. And like I feel like there's that like sort of disconnect there with what she wants to do versus what she's actually good at.
so overall, what you think about the women's match?
Um, so the women's rumbles are generally very good. I thought this was a step back. I thought that the crowd was dead for all of it. Um, there weren't really any surprises. I missed Bianca's presence. Brie Bella is not the surprise I was expecting or wanted to see. I expected more out of Jordan Grace. Um, you know, Becky's input in the Rumble was lackluster, although I appreciate the aftermarket Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I didn't get eliminated. That was BS. Like I appreciated that. Um, I feel like it was a little bit lackluster. It kicked off the show. Usually they try to steal the show. It did not steal the show. It was fine. It was fine. That's what
Anybody outside of Bianca Belair that you feel like we missed in the women's rumble?
I mean, a few NXT stars, but no, not really.
I thought JC Jane did very well.
Blake Monroe, I would have liked to see in the Rumble, but
Yeah,
I understand that her not being there, like it's a lot of this, a lot of the my disappointment I chalked up to sort of it being in Saudi Arabia and being out of the country. So it was one of those things where it's like, okay, it's hard to get people, visas and travel arrangements and all of that, especially, if they're like, okay, well, technically, I'm European, but I work in America and I need to go to Saudi Arabia. It's like, I understand that, like, there's only so much of that you can responsibly pull off in a short period of time. And, it makes a lot of sense as to who was there and who wasn't there. So, I'm going to sort of chalk that up again to my sort of disappointment with it being in Saudi Arabia as opposed to being somewhere in America where, you can just kind of go, anybody can be there and it can kind of go ham because everybody's already got their work visas to just live and work in America because it's an American based company. So, that's kind of where I am with that. I understand it wasn't the worst. It was fine, but man, it was one of those things where it's like I expected it to sort of try to steal the show because the men's seemed, I don't want to say predictable, but it seemed like there were only a few outcomes that we could have had, and we got one of them, and it just became kind of one of those like, okay, we got the right winner, but like you could have surprised me more and made me happier, and they just didn't, and so I was disappointed.
I thought it was very well put together. I thought that it flowed very well. I was less disappointed by it than you were. Um, I didn't really appreciate last year's women's rumble, but you were like over the moon about it.
I was
So
real high on it. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. I thought that it was very well put together, and I really enjoyed the pace. I really enjoyed how it worked out. I'm okay with the outcome of it. Um, the men's rumble, I think, was really in the forefront of my mind when I said they needed to go with a with a lightning strike. But yeah, overall pretty good. Um, not a bad way to kick off the show. So kudos to them. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed some of the storyline pieces that we got. Sol Ruka looked amazing.
She did. She was
Lola
great.
Vice looked real good. JC Jane looked real good. The future is alive and well. So, yeah, overall, not too bad. I do want to jump around a little bit, though, Tom. I do want to move on to Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Championship. This was a fucking giant flop for me.
It was the correct and right. It was the correct result. I'm glad that Drew kicked Sammy's head into seemingly the third row. I hate Sami Zayn's character right now. He is a self-righteous, pompous dickhead. And quite frankly, I'm good with him either changing gimmicks or just going away for a while. And I didn't believe that he needed to be in this match. I understand why he was. It felt kind of hodgepodge together, but like, and Drew needed to win. The internet was all like, "Sammy's gonna win," and I'm like,
I mean, a lot of people thought that Triple H would put the belt on Sami Zayn, just simply for the clicks and the views and all of that and all of this. But obviously the right man won. Drew beat the fucking ever living dog shit out of Sami Zayn for 14 minutes.
Really
and had it not have followed the match that it followed, I think that the story within the match would have had a little bit more meaning. But they essentially wrestled the same exact story within the match that Gunther and AJ had right before them. And I'm clearly saving that for last because it just deserves to be the main attraction of this show this evening. And it followed a very similar script where, you knew that Sami Zayn was the underdog and he's obviously the ultimate underdog. That's his character that he's playing right now.
Which I'm over, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. Give me the master strategist back.
Like Tucker gets like title shot after title shot after title shot after title shot. Like he's not an underdog anymore. He's your top guy who loses at the top guy match. It's not underdog anymore. Like the underdog doesn't get to play for the championship all the goddamn time. And that's what he gets all the goddamn time. He's in the title. Hell, somebody wins a title. Guess who's coming out to say, "Excuse me, I just wanted to interrupt." Like, fuck you, man. Shut up and go in the back. Nobody cares what you have to say. Nobody fucking cares. Like, "John, can I say something?" Like, fuck you. Shut up. Get out of here. Nobody cares. I don't care. And like, I know that was like a catalyst for like Brock Lesnar showing up, but like Sammy is an afterthought. His gimmick sucks. His whole the whole thing when Rollins was like, "I have a vision and I am going to change WWE. I'm saving WWE," and Sammy was like, "Wait, I disagree." And it's like, Sammy, shut the fuck up. Go home. Go home. And like, that's where he lost me. And this was more of that. I'm glad Drew kicked his head into the third row. I don't want to see Sami Zayn in a main event title match ever again. Really, maybe let's give it like 5 years. How old Sammy? Like maybe 5 years is ridiculous, but like it's over. Like let's forget about it. I'm done. I'm done with him. I don't want to see it anymore. He's had enough time. He's had enough chances, and I'm done.
All right. The men's rumble.
I thought it was actually a better rumble overall, but man, was this a Saudi Arabia fucking finish.
So Roman Reigns gets the win. Man, they had a chance to do something cool.
So my pick, had we gone Thursday, my pick was Obafemi. Going into this,
My pick was Jacob Fatu.
Obafemi had me believing. The man tied for 5 eliminations, the most eliminations, squared up with Brock Lesnar and looked like 50 million bucks. Looked like the man of the now. Looked like the fucking guy. And I was like, this is amazing. Wandered over to like try to unlatch Logan Paul's fingers from the rope and gets dumped by Brock Lesnar. And I went, motherfucker. I like audibly. My daughter was around. Dad! Sorry. Motherfucker. Like, it was so bad. It was one of those things where it's just like, I watched, I was like, like my heart sank. And then like Brock gets tossed while Jey Uso's coming out, and like I know the internet's real mad about that.
Oh yeah, internet is pissed.
But like, you know, I didn't care about like that didn't bother me. But fucking like Oba was my guy. Oba was my pick. So like I was already 1 for 1 with Liv, and I'm like fucking Obafemi. Like this is the way. We gotta go with Oba, right? I really, really, really liked what happened in the beginning of the match. I know everybody's like, fucking masked man gimmick again. Yes. Like beat this shit into the ground because like you've pissed off the IWC with it, and it can be somebody different every time, and I love it. It's fantastic.
Who is that masked man?
So it's one of 2 people. It's not Finn Balor because Finn Balor's tattoo comes down to his hand, and unless he had really good makeup but somehow like still some tattoo here, it's not him. It's either Austin Theory or it's Seth Rollins, or it's some chooch, and then in kayfabe it's somebody else.
A lot of people think it was Logan Paul.
Also potential.
And I've also heard that some people thought that it was Adam Pearce.
Yes, I've seen that too. I don't think it's Adam. It's not the right build. Adam Pearce is built weird. This guy, and I don't think it was Austin Theory either, because Austin Theory
hands were way too big.
And Austin Theory is bigger up here than whomever was in that. So I don't think it was.
The guy had some big ass fucking hands.
He had some big hands, but like he had a really big hoodie on. So part of me also thinks that it's like maybe just some guy, like somebody like who was security from NXT and just had big hands, and it could kayfabe be literally it could kayfabe make it be Jericho, right? It's not Jericho. Like Jericho was not that guy, but like kayfabe they could be like it's Chris Jericho. You know what I mean? Like because they were in Saudi Arabia, and it's like, well, this guy's gonna be here. His stomp looks good. Let's just have him do it. And so it could kayfabe be just some guy. Well, it could kayfabe be anybody, but it could just be some guy who they have it could have been Bobby Roode for all we know, right? Like Bobby Roode is not taking bumps. Like it could just been Bobby Roode. He would know how to throw somebody into some steps and do a stomp, right? So it really could have been just about anybody in there, but when you break it down in kayfabe, like it could be anybody when they do that. Is it Logan Paul? Logan Paul is a good call. He doesn't feel like the right call, but like if they decide to pull the trigger on it being Logan Paul, like I don't hate that. But at the same time, like, what are you going to make Logan Paul a babyface? You can't really make Logan Paul a babyface at this point, can you? Like that just doesn't make sense to me. You're gonna make him turn heel on heels. What then? Like Braun Breaker has to smash Logan Paul. What you want Braun Breaker to be a face? Like smashing Logan Paul is making Braun Breaker a face, but like, can Braun Breaker be a face at this point after being such a dastardly heel? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I mean, that's maybe some Attitude Era booking bullshit. It's just, you know, what do you do? What do you do at this point? Is it a new debut? Is it somebody else? Is it God, I don't even know who it could be. Is it Daniel Bryan? No, probably not. Almost definitely not. But like, that's weird, right? Like that's a weird like theory. It could be. It was probably too tall to actually be Daniel Bryan, so it's probably not actually him. Um, Austin Theory is he? It could end up being him, even though it wasn't actually him in the suit. It could have been anybody in the like big sweatsuit. Um, I feel like they said that on commentary. It could be anybody, guys. Michael Cole. It could be anybody. It could literally be anybody. But here we are. It could really be anybody. Like it only makes sense if it's a few people. It was not Bronson Reed. I'll tell you that. It was not Bronson Reed. Um, Bronson Reed would have filled that sweatsuit out a lot better than the baggy sweatsuit that guy was wearing. It was not. If it ends up being Bronson Reed, that actually would be. I would laugh my ass off. Maybe it's an agent of Seth Rollins. Probably too short to be Buddy Matthews because like I know like or Buddy Murphy. Hey, he's back. I feel like okay, so I'm on Buddy Murphy. It could be Buddy Murphy? Is it possible it's Buddy Murphy?
Ooh.
Like was he tall enough? Like I feel like so like Buddy Murphy wasn't there, right? So it's not Buddy. Like that the guy in that sweatsuit was not Buddy. But like what if it comes out that it's Buddy and he's Seth Rollins' agent in this whole thing? I mean, it could just be Seth, right?
I mean, this does say that his contract expires with AEW in February of 2024.
I mean, Buddy has not been on AEW television, and Brody King has been a lone wolf for a long time. So, I mean, could it be Buddy? I mean, kayfabe. That wasn't Buddy.
Yeah, that wasn't, but in kayfabe that would make sense.
I don't know if it was Rollins. I like didn't look like Rollins either. It was a little too like.
I think Rollins is actually hurt.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was Rollins either. I mean, maybe he's well enough to do what he did and not like because he didn't take a bump or anything. Maybe he's well enough to do what he did and not hurt himself. So maybe it could have potentially actually been Rollins under there, but like he wasn't taking bumps or doing anything, particularly egregious. It was like, Braun Breaker did most of the throwing around himself. Like the Irish whip is dumb, right? Like it's like we know kayfabe, like the Irish whip is like you don't actually like people don't actually run when you try to throw them into things. Like that's not how that works. People throw themselves into steps when they throw themselves into steps, and
yeah.
So it was kind of one of those kind of things. So it very potentially could have been Rollins. I mean, Becky Lynch was in the Rumble; she was there. He could have easily gone to Saudi Arabia with Becky, and just been there. So it could be him, and he might be a week or two away from being cleared, and maybe he'll just come out and be like, "Ha fuck you," and like that's a Royal Rumble match or a he gets involved after the Elimination Chamber or whatever. So it could actually be him. Like it was the right size and build that it could have been him. That feels right. It could have been his like it was somebody with like sort of darker chin hair, but like it was a little shaved back, and like Rollins is a little shaved back. It's it is what it is. It could have been him. It could have also been Logan Paul. Could have been Austin Theory. I think that's really it. That's the long and short of who it could have been. But I liked it. I like that kind of got me.
What if it was Phil?
Huh?
What if it was Phil?
I hadn't thought of that. What if it was CM Punk? He fits the build. He fits the little goatee mask. Could have been CM Punk. Did we find that? I don't know. I have not seen. No idea what happened on Raw. It could have been. He could have come out tonight and just been like, "It was me,
Yeah, I have no
Braun."
idea what happened on Raw either. But I mean, if Phil was in Saudi Arabia, he sat on the pre-show panel, um, did press all week. Could have been Phil.
That actually makes a whole lot of sense, and that makes a lot of sense too. Because then, like, I think you and I agreed with this over text. We haven't talked about it. I think it makes more sense for Braun Breaker to have a really like dominant elimination chamber than it would have been to have him like just throw everybody over. Because like, if you have him throw it like start as like what was he number 2? You have him start as number 2 and just chuck everybody and win. Like it's like obviously like, oh, he's gonna be Phil at WrestleMania, but it makes more sense and it makes
I think it's going to be Roman and Punk. That makes the most sense to me. Roman and Punk.
I agree, which is why I thought that
Roman and Drew makes no sense to me at all.
Right, which is why I assumed that Obafemi was going to win the men's rumble, but I was wrong. So I'm really not like the men. So the men's picture to me, like usually I've got a pretty good idea of where things are going. I have no good idea as to where anything's going right now. And maybe that's how it should be. Maybe I should be confused.
I think it makes for a more enjoyable experience whenever you don't know.
And maybe it's a triple threat.
That'd be so fucking lame.
It would really be lame. And like that's kind of my like hesitance to be like, what if it's a triple threat? Because like that's lame. That's lame as shit. But if it's Roman and Punk, and obviously Roman's gonna win, or whatever. Or maybe it's Roman and Punk and Braun just interferes and fucks it up. I don't know. It's just it becomes one of those like the only ways that it starts to make sense are stupid. But like WWE likes to do shit that makes me mad. So where do we end up here? That's kind of the long and short of it. It's like where do we end up?
Well, I mean, I feel like we end up with Roman and Punk as the main event on night 2, and I feel like Roman beats Punk.
And where's that leave Braun Breaker? Where's that leave anybody under 40?
In the same spot that they're in right now. And all the shit we talked at the end of 2025 means nothing.
Yeah. And it's like, you had your chance with Obafemi, and maybe you give Oba and Brock Lesnar a match at WrestleMania. Maybe that kicks off night 2. But who cares? Like Oba beats. Oh my God, Oba beat Brock Lesnar. Is that ends up being more important than the main event of that night? And it's like, I realize that we're in a weird transition period where they're like they have to sell tickets, right? CM Punk versus Roman Reigns is a big deal. That's a big marquee deal, right? And you almost have to like you can't not do that. If you're Nick Khan, you're telling him you figure out how CM Punk and Roman Reigns fight at the main event of WrestleMania, right? Like you figure that shit out. And he goes, all right. Roman Reigns is winning the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. Then what do you do with the Elimination Chamber? All right, well, Drew McIntyre is your champion. He needed to be your champion, but like, do you make Drew drop it to somebody? Do you have Cody Rhodes weasel his way in to have a match where it's Cody versus Drew at Elimination Chamber, and Cody beats Drew for the title at Elimination Chamber, while Cody's not involved in eliminate? Like that's to me seems gross. And why even put it on Drew? You're like, we gotta appease the fans. Put it on Drew so we can put it back on Cody so that like Cody can fight whomever wins the Elimination Chamber. And then who do you have win the Elimination Chamber?
Finn Balor.
Right. Yes, but is that a marquee WrestleMania match, or do you open WrestleMania with that?
I mean, that's the match that the marks want.
I mean, that doesn't draw any money. The marks aren't buying tickets for that. They're just not. I don't know. I feel like if you keep it on Drew, you make Drew a fighting champion. You have Drew beat somebody else at Elimination Chamber. Maybe you have him just beat Cody again at Elimination Chamber, and you keep Cody out of the chamber, and then you have somebody else, some big name. Maybe you have Brock Lesnar.
I think you keep Cody as far away from that chamber as possible. I think he loses a fucking qualifying triple threat match and never even sniffs the chamber.
I would appreciate it if Drew did to Cody what he did in the Rumble, just kick Cody in the fucking head, eliminate him again. Like, I think that to me makes more sense. And then if you want to have Drew hold it through WrestleMania, you have somebody else win. Maybe you have Obafemi win Elimination Chamber.
Jacob Fatu.
Great. Jacob Fatu win Elimination Chamber, and then either come up short or win. Have him win. He's way over. He would be a better. You're right. Okay, Jacob Fatu wins Elimination Chamber. That leaves Braun Breaker out. It leaves Obafemi out. It hard pauses everything. At least until SummerSlam, and then we go from there. But Jesus Christ, like, I don't know. I feel like they missed a big opportunity here to kind of make things make sense, have some fresh blood at WrestleMania, but I guess it doesn't make business sense.
No, not at all. But I mean, at the same point in time, like, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They had a chance to do something really cool here with these Royal Rumbles, and they had a chance to position a new young upstart to be in a big time spot.
That made sense. A young upstart that made sense.
Yeah, like a Braun Breaker or a Jacob Fatu. I mean, who's obviously not a young upstart, but he's new to the WWE audience.
I mean, he's still, only 35? Jacob
35?
Only 34.
They could have done something really cool when they chose to play it safe, and I'm surprised and I'm disappointed more than anything because like I said, I'll die on this hill. I felt like they had a chance to do something cool, and they just went with the safe choice. And I think that my opinion going into the Royal Rumble was that you don't make a safe choice with the Rumble. You do something out of left field, and then you make a safe choice with the Elimination Chamber so that you have, you've got those aces in the hole. I don't know, man.
I feel you, and that's that.
I'm not mad that Roman won. Like, let's strike that. I'm not mad. I'm not.
So I'd have been mad if Cody won. If Cody won, I'd have been like this. That was like that would be 10 times worse. But Roman winning was the most Saudi Arabia booking bullshit that there could have been. Of course, Roman's going to win in Saudi Arabia. Oh, Roman Reigns is going to show up. What was he, 27? Oh, great. Oh, Roman's 27 and he's going to win the whole fucking thing. Okay. All right. Great. Good for him.
Whoops.
Wrong one. Wrong button. Yes, I agree. Okay, same page. Fucking Roman winning is like, oh, well, let's just play it safe, guys. And the crowd was dead for half of everybody. Like, we got fucking Iguana Man shows up. Leyeska they got the double choke slam. That was cool as shit. That was a great spot, by the way. The Americanos, both of them, El Grande Americano and the original El Grande Americano showing up and doing the I'm so glad Chad Gable's back. That was, I was happy. I popped for that. I was like, yes, hell yeah. I kind of wanted a third to show up so they could be like, but I get it. It's fine. It's cool. Loved that. No
Friend of the show,
Jericho.
friend of the show, Pat Martin, texted me late last night after he watched the Rumble, and he said, "What the fuck did he say? Oh my god, just drew a blank. I guess I can just look at it, right?
So
I
you
mean,
could look at it.
God, like what the fuck? Oh, I remember. He said, "Hey man, whatever happened to Ludwig Kaiser?" Like, shut up, Pat.
I haven't seen that guy in months.
Just like randomly out of nowhere. Whatever happened to Ludwig Kaiser? Shut the fuck
So
up.
also, okay, so no Chris Jericho either. Which, like,
Well,
we were sure.
so Jericho actually broke his silence post Royal Rumble like a true pro. He's filming a television show for Apple TV with Sandra Bullock and somebody else.
Oh, good.
Like, it's kind of a big deal. So he's like doing that right now.
Good for him. But also, so no Chris Jericho either. Like, there were really no surprises in this. We got La Parka number 3, not LA Park. OG La Parka's dead. We got La Parka number 3. I wish he did the with the chair and then play the chairs.
Yeah, but that's now LA Park.
Yeah, you're right. But still, that would have been cool. But La Parka 3, that was fun to me. Interesting that they chose him over. Not chose. I mean, I'm sure there's travel.
I was surprised Vikingo wasn't in the damn thing.
Yeah, right. I thought Vikingo was going to be.
Would have been a good time to stroll out Albert the River.
You know what? I feel like it would have been a good time to just leave him in Saudi Arabia and never look back.
We also didn't get Paige.
I didn't expect Paige.
See, I kind of thought maybe we would get Paige.
Didn't expect her.
So before we move on from the Rumble matches, something I forgot to touch on when we were going over the women's match, Busted Open's very own Bully Ray tweeted out, "Brie Bella's back. Won't be long until Danielson is back." Thoughts?
I'm probably in the minority on this. I don't like him. I prefer just continue to not see him. We have not seen Daniel Bryan. We've not seen him in 2-ish years at this point.
It hadn't been that long.
I'm good. I'm good on him. I thought his AEW run sucked. It was pompous. It was nonsense. It sucked. I loved really the only run of his I liked was the Earth's champion with that belt after or that he lost to Kofi. That I thought was his best run. The Yes movement I thought was overblown, overhyped. The crowd was played. Vince liked that just fine. They played into his hand. I'm done. I'm good. I'm very good. He to me is Sami Zayn. Somebody that thinks far too much of himself, the ultimate underdog. Oh my God, can he do it? Oh, what a magical night! Like fuck him. Fucker's been handed everything on a silver platter, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of watching him. I'm tired of hearing him. I'm tired of looking at him. I'm glad that he's not wrestling anymore. I hope that his health is great. I hope that his life is great. I hope that his family is great. I don't want to watch him wrestle anymore. I'm good. I'm fantastic without him. Plenty of guys wrestle who are way better than him, who are more agreeable to way better storylines, and he is insufferable to me at this point. So less of him. The less of him, the better. Hopefully he stays retired. If he shows up at some point to stop Jon Moxley from beating up an old man and then get beat up by Jon Moxley again, I'm not going to watch that either, but sure, whatever.
And then Last hot take from the Royal Rumbles. I saw a tweet this morning that was a picture of Ilya Dragunov chopping Brock Lesnar, and said tweet says the way Brock no-sold Dragunov did more damage to the future of WWE than Roman winning the Rumble ever will.
No, I disagree. I thought because first of all, that must have been a tweet from somebody that didn't actually watch the Rumble. That's a tweet from somebody who does not watch the product. Brock sold a ton for Ilya, and then Brock hulked up and was just like, when Ilya was slapping him, like Brock hit Ilya back, like fought from underneath for a little bit, hit Ilya back, and then Ilya was chopping Brock, and Brock went and just grabbed him and hucked him, and like that was cool. But like Brock was eliminated less than a minute later. That whole exchange made everybody look cool, I thought. Ilya looked cool. Brock and Oba, there was a lot of back and forth with that. So a lot of people had issue also with Obafemi being dumped by Brock Lesnar because he turned to Logan Paul. I did not. I thought that they had really sort of, and maybe everybody watches things on mute. And I'm guilty of this too, watching particularly AEW on mute. But like, if you listen to WWE commentary, they're already telling you a story. They know what's coming. They know what's going to happen. And they're telling you what's going to happen ahead of time. Obafemi, the newcomer, blah, 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 hitting here, going there, blah, blah, blah. And, then when Oba turns to look at like, oh, let me dump Logan Paul because I've rocked Brock Lesnar, who I've never met before, but I've rocked him with a shot that has fucking killed men before. You know what I mean? Like, and that's if you are the ruler, Obafemi. And he probably cut a promo tonight that like explained his reasoning as to why he's like, I hit Brock Lesnar with things that would kill mortal men. And, I turned to dump this bitch Logan Paul, and Brock Lesnar resurrected and dumped me. That was my bad. That's not going to happen again. Brock Lesnar, I'm going to take your head or something and put it on a stick or whatever Oba said tonight or whatever he says the next time about it to address it. I have a lot of faith in where that's going to go. They clearly they don't want to pull an AEW and immediately put a belt on Obafemi in WWE, but they clearly want to position him to have a fight with Brock Lesnar and hopefully, from my perspective, beat him, but have a big, good fight with Brock Lesnar. And I feel like that was one of those things that they teased us with Keith Lee. God, was 5-6 years ago now. And we never got that. And I feel like Oba's kind of the better guy to stack up with Brock at this point, but also like, have that. And I would be more excited for that match, I think, than I would be for like Obafemi to beat, Drew McIntyre at this point. Because like Oba's like, if Oba continues on the trajectory that he's on, like guy's going to be a champion multiple times over and be a big guy and be a top guy. And I think that's really what they need. Because I mean, he's 28, 29-ish. He's a young guy who's big, strong, looks impressive, cuts great. Like his promos are underrated, if anything. Like the guy just comes out, cuts great promos, does a like great American accent to make fun of people. Incredible. And so like I look forward to what happens with Oba. I'm not like, despite me wanting him to win the Rumble, I'm not completely discouraged that he didn't. That's really where I am at this point. It's that like, Daniel Bryan comes back. Like I don't want to see Daniel Bryan. I'm over him. He had his time. The Daniel Bryan retirement tour would just put everything on pause for however long that goes over. I don't want to see him again. I'm done with him. Let him book AEW. Maybe he'll do better. Done. How do you feel about Daniel Bryan? You want to talk to Daniel Bryan?
I mean, I can do without him. You know what I'm
Right?
saying? Like
Fuck him.
I don't. It'll be a fun little pop if it happens, but as far as him coming back to WWE and I don't know what Bully's thinking whenever he says these kind of things, because isn't he still like a backstage executive for AEW?
Yeah. Look,
Like,
unless he's coming out to get fucking killed by Gunther in one night, I don't want to see him. I would happily see Gunther take his head off on a Monday Night Raw in the main event, and then have him be like, "Hey guys, thanks for," and have him take his Hall of Fame at WrestleMania, or the night before WrestleMania. But also, like, I'm not interested in a Daniel Bryan run. I'm not interested in him being involved in storyline. I'm just not interested in it. I've not been interested in him before he left WWE. I wasn't interested in him in AEW, although I watched, I hoped, I was like, maybe this will be good. And I was consistently disappointed week after week after week after week. And then his defeat led to what was probably one of the darkest periods in AEW history of just like terrible, terrible shows. So, no, I'm done with him. I don't want to see him anymore. I'm not interested in him. I'm not interested in his self-righteous nonsense style of getting himself over. It doesn't work for me anymore, brother. Just not interested.
I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. Last match of the night. AJ Styles versus Gunther in a career match. AJ Styles put his WWE career on the line.
So I want to address the internet's sort of like nonsensory about this first. They were certain that AJ wasn't going to win, and they were mad. They were certain that AJ was going to win, and they were mad that he lost. But also, like, they were also mad that Gunther was then in the Rumble and entered at number 30, and they didn't understand why that wasn't taken away, quotes, taken away from Gunther, because of his match with AJ. And that all struck me as the stupidest shit said by people who do not watch the product week to week. Because Gunther had already declared for the Royal Rumble the day that AJ came out the first time and was like, fuck you for how you disrespected John Cena and blah, blah, blah. And then Gunther was just like, I'll kill you too. And then, he did, by dastardly means, beat AJ Styles on Monday Night Raw. And that was fantastic. Phenomenal match. I think it was my match of the week that week. It was a phenomenal match. I loved it. Loved all of it. Loved everything to do about it. And then, AJ gets all up in his feelings about it. And it's just like, I can beat him. I can do it. I want Gunther again. Right. And, goes after Gunther. Gunther, come on, like, let's go. You and me, the Royal Rumble. And Gunther's like, why would I do that? Like, I already beat you. I'm in the Royal Rumble. I got bigger things than a fucking old guy. I don't need to retire you, AJ. I don't need to beat you again, AJ. And then and then he says, AJ presses the issue, and he's like, AJ, you put your career on the line, and I'll do it. And AJ's like, fine, I'll do it. And that was it, right? And Adam Pearce was like, all right, it's official. And it was, career versus, whatever, versus nothing, really, match. So Gunther had nothing to lose. And I think you and I talked about this, 2 weeks ago. And it was like, shit, AJ's going to lose, isn't he? Like, we looked back on it, and it was like, man, he had a great tag team title run. He fought Shinsuke Nakamura in sort of a redemption match. Man, was that fucking good. AJ's had some phenomenal match. He fought John Cena. He lost to John Cena. Man, that was a great match. Him versus John Cena. I think it was both of our matches of the week that week.
Absolutely was.
AJ's had like the best like last 6 to 8 months that he could ever hope to have. And his debut was at the Rumble. It sucks, and like I understand that everybody was like, "Oh, well, this one's in Saudi Arabia. They're not going to retire AJ Styles overseas."
Crowd was hot for this match.
The crowd was. This was one of those things where just like the crowd had been dead for most of the night at this point.
Well, I mean, the first match was the women's match, and then this was the second match of the show.
Yeah, but I mean, the crowd was dead for the women's match. So like the crowd came alive, like these guys got this crowd into it, and
they had this crowd in the palm of their hands.
Holy shit, was this a good match? They had me in the palm of their hands.
Oh, for sure. Me too.
Holy shit, was this a good match? Like these were two guys who are, quite frankly, all practically, individually incapable of having a bad match, but together were capable of creating magic.
I mean, this fucking thing was like 26 minutes, entrances and all. And
watching this match, I felt like they held back in their first match to make this better. Like that's what there were points in time where I was like, did they hold back in the first match? Which was also amazing. But it felt like that was like watching, I was like, I think they held back. Also, I'm like folding laundry at like 3 p.m. Like they held back in the first match. Like, like just going like, what is happening right now? A better send off for AJ Styles, like a better send off from like most wrestlers ever. I couldn't think like AJ got a better send off than the vast majority of top tier wrestlers, and I think that looking back on it, like with hindsight being 2020, an insanely good match to end an insanely good career, and it just I don't know what happens next. Apparently, AJ was offered a backstage role.
So had we have done the show the last Monday that we were supposed to do it, I had a take that everybody seemed to have picked up on Tuesday or Wednesday and started to run with. And, TNA and WWE are working rather closely together these days. And, man, it makes an awful lot of sense for AJ to just go back to TNA and just finish out the last year of his career, really helping to re-solidify that brand with their new TV deal, still on WWE's payroll.
I mean, I understand that, but I also think that like that sort of, does that not delegitimize what he just did for the last 6 months?
I mean, it does a little bit, but at the same point in time, they were very careful. They made sure that they used the verbiage WWE career a lot. They never used the word retirement. They just said career. In the post-match presser, Triple H said, "Hey man, he has convinced me that he's done. Like, but only time will tell, etc., etc." I mean, he took his gloves off and he went to put them down, and then he picked them up and put them back on. A lot of people think he's going to AEW, which to me makes absolutely no sense.
I don't think that happens.
I mean, if he shows up there, it is what it is. There's some guys from Japan that he worked with that are there, but to me, if he's not done with his in-ring career, it makes the most sense to me to go to TNA and carry that flag, and be that guy there for 6 or 8 months and then call it quits. Just kind of a full circle thing. But I don't know.
And then accept his first ballot Hall of Fame. He could be the first guy that they let talk and get inducted in 2027 before.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? He could go be the new general manager on NXT. I mean,
she did leave. I was kind of shocked that she left, but I mean, he could be. And you know what? Like, he lives in Gainesville, Georgia, so that's a long trip for work. But they're mostly pre-taped segments anyway, so I don't know. Yeah.
So I think that there's some meat on the bone there, and we'll have to see what AJ's next move is. Maybe he takes that backstage producer role. Maybe he goes home for a little while, and then he's like, you know what, Wendy, I'm not ready to be here. And but I mean, he's 48 years old. He's given us his heart and his soul. And if he were to call it quits,
What, 30 years at this point? Good Lord.
yeah,
I mean,
uh,
the guy's been wrestling amazingly since we were kids, since we were children. Like he put TNA on the map for guys like you and I. It was like, have you seen this guy? Like you and I probably said this to each other at 30 years ago. We were like, yeah, you and I probably said to each other at 16 years old, have you seen this AJ Styles guy? Holy shit. Like fucking 25 years ago or whatever. So I don't know, man. If this is his send off and it's just he's done, and we'll see him with a fresh haircut at the Hall of Fame next year. I'll watch and I'll be excited for him. I'll probably have a little tear in my eye for that. But if he takes a backstage role like a la Bobby Roode, or Abyss, or if he takes if he spends 6 months and if he takes a month or two off and spends the last 6 months of the year, getting TNA a TV deal for some reason. I mean,
they have a TV deal. They got one with AMC now.
that's right. I mean, just solidifying, maybe that's the thing though, right? Like, does he need to? Like, what's 6 months of that going to do? They've got like a 3 to 5 year deal already. What's AJ Styles going to do?
Well, I mean, I think that it helps line WWE's pockets.
Sure, but like, hasn't he done that enough?
Yeah, but I mean, what's to say that he doesn't do it a little bit more and he gets to end his career where it all started for him, where he became the phenomenal one, where he found we were introduced to AJ Styles, the X Division champion.
Maybe.
I don't know. I really don't know. Overall, Tom, what would you give the Royal Rumble as a whole a grade?
I'm gonna give it a. Let me give it a C plus. I thought that.
Really, that low?
Well, it was. So I'm looking at it. Okay, you're right. All right, I'm gonna bump it a whole letter. I'm gonna give it a B plus because while the winners were a little predictable, and I'm disappointed in that. Right, the angle with the masked man I thought was one, I didn't see it coming. I didn't think they'd go masked man gimmick again. That to me seems kind of wild. But also I'm here for how much it pissed off the rest of the internet. So like I'm not. It's almost a like haha like kind of a thing to me. So I like that just from a sort of like antagonist perspective. So I like that. And then I don't hate the Roman one. I understand that that's the money match. That's the like Roman versus Punk. Oh my God, WrestleMania. Okay, all right. Like that's not for me. I think that's what keeps me well below an A. You know, maybe I'll give it solid B. I'm going to downgrade it half. I'm going to go solid B. I think it was a solid B. There were I think there were some constraints with it being in Saudi Arabia. I think that it bucking up sort of our tradition hurts me more than I think that I should really lean into my own grading of it, but also that it was still a decent Rumble. We still got some surprises, especially with the Masked Man thing. We got some cool people coming in. I like the double choke slam spot with Iguana Man and Layeska. I liked the Americanos being having both of them back. It's nice to see Chad Gable back. I'm interested to see where that's going to go. I'm still a big fan of the El Grande Americano gimmick, and I think that this really just sort of he's going to take it to the next level, because then where do Rio and what the other guy? Bravo. Where do Rio and Bravo go? Where do their loyalties lie? Do they have a feud? Do they join together? What's gonna happen? Is it a 4-man stable now? So there's a lot of things that could happen. There were a lot of people who I didn't see, but I understand why Aleister Black, like, they brought him back, but like at the same time, like it's so stop
There's
start
some
with
internet chatter that the religious tone behind his back tattoo kept
yeah.
him off that show.
I realized that like both him and the Wyatt Six, like the spooky stuff is probably just not going to fly. And he's like, it's probably like to him, just like, I don't want to fucking go to Saudi Arabia. Can I just hang out at home with my hot wife? And like, they're
Yeah,
like,
but she was in the rubble.
yeah, she was. But like, yeah, it's like, can I just hang out at home? Can I not? Can I just not be in Saudi Arabia? Can I be in the next Rumble? Like he's clearly not about to be like the world champion, but like he might be the United States champion this year. So is it important? Like the actual
not
United,
Tommy End.
yeah, like the actual United States champion was in the Rumble, but like he got tossed relatively quickly. So like, who fucking cares, right? Like there were some people, the Wyatt Six particularly too, who I was like, oh, why weren't they in? But like, spooky gimmicks and big tattoos are like a very American thing, and that's again more on my criticism of it. Like, why is this in Saudi Arabia? Like, this should be an event that's in, if not America, like Scotland or Ireland or Great Britain or something like that. Like, it's not a, you want to get your most interesting people in there, and this doesn't, the culture does not lend to that. So I feel like that's really more my criticism of where it took place as opposed to how it was booked, because you're right, and you had said to me, I thought everything was booked very well, with the constraints that I think that the Saudi royal government puts on things. I thought this was booked probably about as best as it could. And they had some influences in who was going to win. So fuck it, yeah, I'll give it a B, solid B.
Yeah, I gave it a B plus. Had the match with Sammy and Drew not had the same story within the match that Gunther and AJ told just the match prior. I feel like it might have been a little bit more palatable. I really didn't care about that match at all. I felt the women's match, the women's Rumble, was fucking very well produced. It was stellar. The pacing was good. Really enjoyed the storylines that were told. Within the match, definitely weird for me to say, but definitely missed Bianca. Would have liked to have seen her come back with maybe a little bit more of an edge to her. But we did not get that. Then that's not to say that we didn't get that tonight. But it just is. I don't know. Brie Bella coming back was a fun little pop, but I don't care. The men's match, I'd have liked to have seen Jacob Fatu win. I like what they did with Oba. They put him in that to start the match and had 10 straight eliminations, and then Brock Lesnar comes out at 13, and it's like the whole thing. And really, I thought it was a pretty good show. B plus for me. I enjoyed it. Definitely missed going to Archie's and eating wings and fries and drinking a bunch of beers. But outside of that, the show was decent. Definitely B plus. I mean, and Gunther and AJ was just amazing. So,
my salt about this purely relies on it breaking our tradition, and I very much expect next year's to be a 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock start time, and for us to full force come back in and be like, all right, we're back, we're gonna plan this out right, we fucking missed last year, and I hate it right now, like that's my like I can feel it in my veins, they're itchy, and it's like I hate that, and it hurts my heart and my soul, because like I wanted nothing more than to like chill with you and fucking watch the Rumble Saturday night, 8 p.m., get some wings, get some beers, and just have a ball like we've had for the last 5 or 6 years. We didn't get to do that, and like but that's on me, right? And that's on us, and that's a me. So like I have to try to like put that away. So like next year when this is like our time, we're fucking doing it up.
Yeah, for sure. That goes without saying. All right. Well, I think that we've come to the point in time in our production here where we've got one last piece of business, and that's the internet famous One Fall WrestleCast match of the week.
I have to give the obligatory runner-up this week because one, Mark Briscoe versus Tommaso Ciampa was everything that I hoped it would be, and it was one of those things where like the AEW had the balls to put on a match where right after WWE had put on the Royal Rumble. It's like AEW had the balls to be like, hey, remember this guy that you really fucking like? He's also gonna fight a guy that like you probably also kind of like in Mark Briscoe, and we're gonna do that. This is our main event of Collision on Saturday night. Hey, guess what? Also, it is live at what was it, 9:30 when it started, and they went full balls for this match. It was great. Shout out to those guys for really doing the thing and doing the dangerous thing and doing a title change on a Saturday night show where only 500,000 people are watching. So shout out to them for that. That's my runner up. But God, it's impossible, and I know you're gonna feel the same way. It's impossible to not say AJ versus Gunther was just
I mean, there's no fucking.
I mean, it's the match of the year, not just the week.
I mean, that thing was a fucking masterpiece. I didn't want to get too deep into the weeds because I knew there was no way that was not your match of the week, and I knew that it was my match of the week coming into this fucking thing. God bless America, that thing was fucking phenomenal. Pun heavily intended.
I mean, they really just came out and were like, hey, we're just gonna AJ's last match in WWE. This is going to be the best match of the year, and it was the end. It was January 30th.
26 minutes roundabout. Like they started out real slow, real technical. They built up and then came crashing down, and then AJ fucking blew a comeback. Boom, up, down, done. And like they had that crowd in the palms of their hands.
Tough crowd.
Yes.
Tough crowd.
And just everything that they did felt like it mattered. The crowd was resonating with every single move they made, all the way down to rest holds. And like when, they were in rest holds, if Gunther was fucking, was on top, they were chanting to bring AJ back from underneath. And he was responding, and then like they just beat the fucking piss out of one another, and like really laid it in. It fucking had an old school feel to it. It was so much fun to watch.
It felt so fast. It was like it felt like it was over in an instant. But like I looked up and yeah, you're right. 30 minutes had passed. It was just like. This is, and it was, they clearly kind of thought it out and done, but like we had said, like if this is the end for AJ, like what a way to send him off in that kind of like if you're AJ Styles, that's the match you want to be like, hey, my last match was unbelievable, and I'm very proud of it, and like he's gonna do that, and he's gonna say his last match was, he should be proud of it, and it's. To this day, like probably the best match of the year. In a year where we've already had some pretty good matches, like it was, it's probably going to stand the test of time at this point for the year. And whether or not AJ comes back to do either a backstage role or a role with TNA or whatever, I can't think of a better way to kind of kick off end off his WWE career, kind of right where he started at the Royal Rumble.
10 years, 10 years apart.
I mean,
he debuted in 2016.
It stinks that it was like in Saudi Arabia again. I think it was probably 2:30, 3 p.m. our time when it started. 3 p.m. ish when it ended. So that kind of stinks. Like I'm folding laundry like with my jaw on the ground for 20 minutes. But I'd much rather be like, oh my god, with you at like 8:30 p.m. But it is what it is. I can't. It's hard for me to like sit here and not want to be selfish about it. It's like I deserved this, but it's I didn't. I didn't do shit. So yeah, it was fantastic. And if this is the end of AJ, man, has it been a great run.
Absolutely.
Hard to argue a guy that had a better run than AJ. Like 10 years. I mean, all highs.
Accomplished a lot in 10 years, man.
Most of them highs too. I mean, I think really the only
Grand Slam champion.
The only really disappointing part I think is that like when he and Shinsuke they overhyped them as like their title feud a little bit. What was that? God, probably 2018-ish.
I think 18, 19,
2018. They overhyped that a little bit, but like even that they got to sort of like have some redemption there because they had a fantastic match a week ago.
Yeah,
on Raw, fantastic and incredible. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that he could want any more. I don't know that I want any more.
I mean, you got a spot on John Cena's fucking farewell tour, like, which was a banger. I mean, kudos to AJ Styles. At this
point, I feel like he just shouldn't tarnish his legacy. At this point, it's like,
don't pull an Adam Copeland.
Please, for the love of God, just don't tarnish it. If you want to have a backstage role, cut your hair, be Bobby Roode, maybe run out and break some people up occasionally when it's we're here from Tallahassee, Florida, and you want to run out because you drove there an hour to be in the show and break up a fight or whatever. Great. Love to see his face there, but as far as in-ring career is concerned, I don't know that you crescendo it better than that. I feel like this is the peak. You end on the high note. You put the monster heel over in the end. It's a notch in his belt. God, AJ's a goat, and I don't think this. I think this leaves his golden legacy beautifully.
I agree. Hey man, congratulations to AJ Styles on a stellar in-ring career. The face that runs the place, the champ that runs the camp. He got to have the Undertaker's last match. There's just so many things that AJ has contributed in the last 10 years in his WWE career. Obviously the first ever TNA X Division champion. His feuds with Samoa Joe are legendary. Even the one that they had in WWE in 21, it was 20.
That was great too.
That was the Thunderdome era.
That was the best part of that. That was the best part of that. That was why you turned that on. He was always entertaining. You know what? The next thing I want to see from him is hopefully a Hall of Fame induction in April. I'd love to hear a speech. Be great if like Samoa Joe inducted him. That'd be amazing. But that's what I want to see from him next.
That would be the perfect way to end his career because that match was a fucking masterpiece. There's nothing. There's no other word to describe what that was, and I just, as a wrestling fan, to sit there and to just be so absolutely just enthralled in what was happening. Fucking masterpiece.
You don't often get to see some of your favorites go out in the way that they ought to, in a very respectable way.
Yeah.
And I feel like AJ going out in sort of the most respectable way possible. Like really the only person who got more pomp and circumstance around it was John Cena. And for AJ Styles to take sort of a second place to like the John Cena retirement, but also really get a nice send off in sort of the same way, I think is really, really special. For me, as somebody who's been a fan for 20 years, just just to see a guy who I've been a fan of forever go out. I hope to see more of my favorites who are nearing that retirement age go out in similar manners. For me, I couldn't really want more for it. As a guy who's owned the T-shirts, as a guy who's watched the matches, as a guy who's gone to see him, um, I am satisfied. I feel satiated, and I feel like that's a rare thing in pro wrestling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, bud. Well, I think much like AJ's career, we're going to go ahead and call this one quits. And hey, man, if you're still hanging out with us, man, we appreciate you. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Maybe even consider subscribing. We would greatly appreciate it. Check us out over on Twitter and Instagram at @1_fall WC. That's ONE. And as always, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast.